Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video.
Well, welcome back to Giga Texas. It is Friday, the 12th of January, 2024, and Mother Nature really put a lot of wind up today, and I've had to delay my normal flight by about 6 hours later than I normally do. So you'll notice that the lighting is a lot different. Fortunately, the winds died down enough for me to be able to fly and get a lot of good imagery here. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do so, but I'm glad I did. Now, a couple of things that I want to talk about before we talk about a couple of other items that I noticed around the site today. First, with this image yesterday, Jeff Roberts noticed these two bodies that were wrapped and strapped down onto these pallets leaving Giga Texas. And there's been a lot of speculation about what these are, most of which is wrong. All these are Model Y bodies that may be being used for engineering analysis, maybe some testing, or maybe being shipped out to Fremont factory so that they can compare some of the work that's being done here with the work out there. And there are many reasons for that, and I'll let you try to figure out what that means. But these are just Model Y bodies and nothing else. The next thing that I want to talk about is the fact that actual deliveries to non-Tesla employee customers of the Cybertruck have begun. There's been at least 25 VIN numbers, probably more, that have been assigned, and some of the Cybertrucks have actually already been delivered, as you can see by this image from Drive Tesla Canada. Also, yesterday, Jeff Roberts noticed 7 Cybertrucks departing the site, and then today, I actually noticed about 5 more that were getting ready or were on trucks leaving the site, plus many more over at the testing and calibration lot, some of them over by that Rainmaker. Looks like they were doing some water testing or maybe some preparation of the vehicles there. We see at least 5 of them over at the superchargers getting all charged up and final checks before they move over to the outbound lot. And then of course at the outbound lot, see a lot of the Cybertrucks that are arriving and then being loaded up and moved off site almost immediately. Now, if you can see by this image here, my projections, people have asked, what do I think is going to happen? And I really don't know, and it's really difficult to tell. But right now, I would say we're probably in that 4 to 8, maybe 9 Cybertruck per hour rate. The reason why it's so difficult is, one, I and Jeff and Brad are only out here a very short period of time, and there's a lot of transport, a lot of production, a lot of movement that happens outside of the view of the drone. The other reason why it makes it very difficult to be able to get a good estimate is that, as I said, the Cybertrucks arrive at the outbound lot and are immediately put on the trucks and driven off-site. So for those expecting to see a large number of Cybertrucks just sitting here at Giga Texas, we're not seeing that at all. Now, for a couple of things that I want to talk about in the intro that are interest items. First, with this image over on the west side, we see in that large pit concrete being poured. We also see some frame mounts for that cement tunnel liner tool, that very large round tool that I showed you the other couple days ago, just north of this site. This is for the Boring Company tunnel, and this will be where the mount and the supports for the Prufrock will start that drilling. So that is definitely confirmed with what I saw today. The other thing over on the west side that I want to show you is that more paving on the new outbound lot is underway. This is a big deal because they need to get this facility done, the outbound lot done and operational, as the production ramp for both the Model Ys and the Cybertrucks continues to grow and grow. One other thing, actually, I just remembered that I want to tell you about. I will not be flying on Monday. That's because I got invited to the Everyday Astronaut Astro Awards ceremony that's going to be happening this weekend here up at Austin. And I'm going to be spending a lot of time up here on Sunday. So because of that, I will not be flying on Monday, on the 15th of January. So anyway, that's truly it for the intro. Let's get into the drone. Let's fly around the site and let's see what Giga Texas looks like today.
If you would like to support my efforts, please consider using these links, which will be in the video description. If you are interested in Tesla products, you can help yourself and support me by using my referral code. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons on my YouTube video, as this helps as well. Thank you. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. Well, it looks like it's a beautiful day, but I'll tell you the winds were quite strong all this morning and into the early afternoon. And fortunately, they were able to die down just enough so I was able to get into the drone and fly around the site. And I hope you enjoy what we'll be able to see on this kind of a varied type of approach to the video. Now, we're starting on the body and white roof. We can see this section that has been the roof decking and the insulation and the weatherproof membrane removed. You can see through the beams, the chiller units and some of the other manifolds and other systems here for heating and ventilation system that's installed on the second floor here. There's another section of roof, as we suspected, getting ready to be removed as well, and all of the debris here stacked next to the wall. So a lot of progress with this addition for the heating and ventilation system. Now we're looking to the east across the power lines at the ever-growing parking garage, and you can actually tell it's getting close to the northward boundary of the structure, and it looks like maybe 3 more columns worth to get to that edge. And the rest of it is continuing to build out here in the middle section, and they're positioning the crane now so that they can continue onto the new footings and expand that entire facility all the way over here towards the east. And as we talked in the past, the permit talks about a 1.745 million square foot structure. And looking at the largest parking garages in the world, this would put it at about number 3 in the world, and about 11 to 12,000 vehicles. So pretty impressive on this parking garage. Now later on in the employee overflow lot, we're going to see why this is so important, because the parking lots are overflowing with vehicles. As I pull away to the southeast, get a good look at this pond, the southeast corner of the building, and the extension that is continuing to expand. Also, you can see at the bottom of the screen where there is a little bit of the road work that will eventually connect over to that multi-level parking garage. In this section, we can see that steel structure continuing to expand on the left, the concrete on the right, and with the coating that has been put onto it, we have a lot of people that think that there's going to be tanks that will be installed on top of that particular site. So something to work to watch and see how that goes. In this middle section, the footings are essentially done, waiting for that steel. We can see on the right-hand side of the screen more of that trench work, a small perimeter grade beam, and getting ready for some form work as well. And then in the distance here, you can tell that that perimeter grade beam is continuing to expand towards the wall. Also, more of the footings and other construction being done next to the wall as well, and that will allow this structure to expand and eventually be connected together. Now that concrete wall on the right is eventually going to be an internal firewall, and that'll be retained. Looking from here across the highway, you can see where the boring tunnel entry is being prepared, and we'll get much closer views of that later, but still suspecting that it's going to go through this area where that opening is on that perimeter grade beam. As I pull away, this gives you a really good view of the south end, all of the footings, the fact that it's mostly dry now, which is really a great sign. With the winds, they're not doing anything with the cranes or any of the steel because the winds are just too strong. Over the weekend, we're supposed to get a front through here, and there's going to be more winds, very cold weather, so I'm not sure how much steel assembly is going to be done over the next few days. But it'll be something to watch when I resume my flights next Wednesday. On this end of the building where we see these crates, that's where all of the glass panes are waiting for installation. the crews continue to work on those pads along that beam, and those will be the mounting points for the glass. And you can see the 3 test panes that were originally put on, and that's going to continue all the way along the entire south end of the structure. As I bring the drone up, this gives you a good view of the main factory itself, the sites that we saw already in this drone flight, and the entire south end. Also on the south part of the river road, just below the drone, we see a lot of this area is being graded and prepared. And in my next video, I'll try to get a closer look at all of the work that is being done here on just the south side of the road. And here's a pretty good view of what that looks like here on the right-hand side of the screen. I'm going to point the drone to the ground and turn a little towards the left because I want to show you the current progress on this Giga water loop connection that's been made. It looks like the HDPE pipe has already been installed, pulled underneath the road. You can see that with those trench boxes next to that white truck, and then the exit point next to those red and white dividers. So that work is definitely progressing as well. We also see on the left-hand side of the screen along the berm, looks like a roadway of sorts has been added. It's kind of dirt, but it continues to be used quite extensively by a variety of different contractor vehicles. So something worth watching as that develops. Now on the bottom right, you can see how the perimeter grade beam is getting ready to connect to that angled corner. You can see the saw cuts for that slotted area to allow the wall panels to extend to the south, and just a good view of these 2 loading platforms. Not a lot of materials being loaded in today. On this temporary staging lot, we see 4 Cybertrucks. Later on, there'll be more arriving over here. Now, this looks like the Cybertrucks are missing some parts, so maybe this is a temporary holding until some of the parts arrive, and then they're moved over to the east side. On the other side of the highway, this is that entry point and preparation for the boring tunnel where the Prufrock, the cement liner or the concrete liner frame will be mounted, and this is where the boring will be commencing. You can see here where the concrete's being poured, those mounts with these arrows. And we talked about this previously. Just a reminder, on the left is that concrete liner installation fixture. On the right, it shows you how it is installed. And then pay attention to that top arrow, those beams. Those are also on site as well, and I will show you them here shortly. We can see the cement silos, the belt cassette on the left, some more of the equipment for the Boring Company in that area. We can see that cement liner frame at the bottom of the screen. We can see those concrete sections which will line underneath where the Prufrock initially begins its drilling. And then on the left you can see those metal parts, and that is also part of that concrete liner frame that we just talked about. There is concrete being poured onto the conduits. There is a lot of work here on this south, eventually going to be a covered supercharger mega station here with about 96 superchargers. And then in the outbound lot, we can see that another large section is getting the asphalt poured today. Also, those concrete squares in the middle of the asphalt is where the poles for the lights will be installed. So definitely coming along, and this is a priority to get this ready for all of the vehicles that will be produced here soon. On the right, we can also see a large section of gravel has been spread. This may be an expansion of the West Warehouse on Wheels, and that definitely is progressing as well. As we fly along the road, this gives you a good view looking across the outbound lot and the new asphalt, the new end-of-line facility, and all the activity that is going on here today. And we'll fly up farther to the north to show you additional work that is going on this side of the highway. But as I come down a little bit closer, you can get a good sense of the work, the crews, and the activity going on here to get this entire section paved. And once this is done, then they're going to continue to expand this over towards the end-of-line facility. As we fly along the west side of the end-of-line facility, this gives you a good view of the current status of the trenching, which has been mostly filled in. You can see some of the pipes sticking up, those modular HVAC systems, some of the connections with the ducts, and also there was a gray tank, probably an air compressor tank that had been installed. On the east side, most of the trenching is being filled back in. There is some additional trenching going on here. Most of that is for conduit. Some of it is for underground concrete pipes. And then on the north end, we can see how this new section of trenching is being dug while the rest of the conduit is being installed along this entire north end. Plus, we see those 3 green electrical boxes that have been installed here as well. And as I look back at the main facility, this gives you a good view of how this entire north end looks. The facility, the work on that remains on the west side for the trenching for the lights, and then preparation for that asphalt. So really a lot of progress being made here quickly now. I think that they really need to get this facility done soon. More earthwork in this area, plus some of the dirt is being brought in. So it looks like this is being prepared for some future expansion, maybe a construction project as well. Another thing that I did notice today is this road that has been waiting for the power lines to be moved. Those have now been moved, as you can tell, and there's a lot of trucks lined up and work being done to prepare this part of the road. We also see these Evapco units. This is what is at the chiller plant by the battery cathode plant, so I think these will be destined for that location as well. And again, that look at that road that is being prepared for finishing and connecting up to Tesla Road on that north end. A lot more of the steel being stored here still, and some of that's being used, I think, for the south end, but it's really hard to tell because there's just so much of it arriving on site and some of it being stored here. The Tesla Road intersection to Farm to Market 973 is pretty much done, although the 973 widening efforts continue. And in the background, you can see the area where we've had excavation work for dirt. That is still part of Tesla's property, and much of that dirt was used on the southwest corner to prepare that graded area where we see that gravel next to the contractor parking lot. So let's get ready to cross over the highway and take a look at the other side of the site today. Due to the winds, I'm going to just do an abbreviated look at the Megapack site today. The main thing I'm looking for is on this north end with all of the electrical components is whether or not the disconnects have been connected yet or not, and they have not. You can see that in the middle left of the screen. As I zoom in, you can tell where the arrow is that those have not yet been connected. So still they're waiting for something, maybe working with ERCOT for final approval for connecting the Megapack. In the top left, you can see work that is continuing with the decommissioning of the temporary electrical switchyard. So let's fly back towards the north end of the building, and let's take a look at some of the activity closer to the main structure. Work here where the 4680 production portion of the factory is continuing to be expanded, and it looks like most of the work is on the inside today. That makes good sense because they delivered a lot of drywall in the previous video, and I'm sure that they're fitting out quite a bit of the interior right now for those additional 4 lines. As I wrap around the northwest corner, I did notice something on the roof that's very interesting. You can take a look at this. There's a lot of crews working with bricks on the top of the roof. Now, originally I was thinking this may be related to phase 2 of the solar panel installation. Bricks are used to hold down the Unirack mounts for the solar panels. However, there's another theory that I've heard from some of my Patreons, and we'll get a closer view of that, but there may be a problem with the weatherproof membrane of the roof on this section. While we're here, I'll just give you a quick view of this old loading ramp and how it looks today with the walls and the ramp removed. Still no major progress on what they're going to be doing there. But you can tell here, looking at the roof, the weatherproof membrane is kind of bunched up in several sections right next to this firewall. And most of the bricks are being put down on the seams of the weatherproof membrane. So I don't know. Maybe they are trying to keep that from coming up. So that's something definitely worth watching as we continue to go into the future. The ducted fans and ventilation systems for the casting machine structure look like those are making a lot of progress. They're about halfway, maybe 60% done with the installation of all of those vents and those ducted fans. As we get back to the north end of the building, I'll bring the drone down slightly. We'll take a look at the north end of the paint shop. The Cybertruck body is no longer here, so that has been moved off site. And in the parking lot here, where all these fences are, this is where they're continuing to put electrical wire through the conduit, and this is going up towards the switchyard and the Megapack site. So that, and then along this entire berm here, shows that maybe that's why the Megapack's site not connected yet, because they still have some wiring that is being done. You can tell that the berm is definitely being widened. Here's a good view in. The stair-step approach is to keep it from collapsing in as they're doing that excavation work, but they really are making a concerted effort to give a lot more space here. Maybe it's for maneuvering of trucks to have deliveries, or maybe it's so that they can have more space for the castings. But anyway, a lot of work, a lot of activity here on the east side of the casting machine structure. A lot of the castings, it's a mix of Model Ys and also Cybertrucks. And then here at the bottom of the screen is where they're continuing to finish up the wiring that is going through the conduit and into the main building and then up to that electrical switch yard. There are a lot of Model Ys and many Cybertrucks here on the testing and calibration and supercharging lot. The Model Y production is definitely at an increased ramp rate, and I'm hoping that we'll hear something from Tesla soon about a new record production rate for the Model Ys. Here you can see, looks like 6 Cybertrucks now under the canopy for the superchargers, and these typically are the newest of the Cybertrucks, and then once they're completed in this section, they're moved over to the outbound lot. We'll get a good chance to see that here in just a moment. But as we fly over the testing and calibration lot and all of these Model Ys, I did notice next to the Rainmaker machine, which is where they test for water leaks, we have a few Cybertrucks. Looks like that Rainmaker has been busy with at least 2 of them, and they're doing some additional work here. Now, it is also possible that they're using these to clean off the Cybertrucks as well. They definitely have plastic on the seats. It looks like these are brand new ones also. So just an interesting thing that I noticed here with the activity with the Cybertrucks and, of course, that Rainmaker machine. I do expect to see the Rainmaker and the rest of these testing items moved over to that new outbound lot and end-of-line facility on the west side once it is ready. So let's fly over to that outbound lot. You can see that it is very busy. Again, a lot of Model Ys, a lot of the trucks, actually many more than we've seen in the recent past. They've just brought in many more trucks. They tend to put the Model Ys here as a staging, and then the trucks pick them up in a rapid fashion. But the Cybertrucks, when they arrive, they're almost immediately moved and put onto the trucks. And you can see another one in motion here, getting lined up behind this black Model Y. And as soon as the truck arrives, then it will be loaded right back up. In fact, you can see a couple trucks arriving right now, and they're going to be positioned to pick up these vehicles. We see another Cybertruck on the right, and then many Cybertrucks over towards these trailers on both sides of the road. And of course, another one has been loaded up on the trailer. And while I was taking a photo, the trailer started moving, so I decided let's go ahead and follow it, and let's see at least part of the way as the Cybertruck on the transport vehicle departs Giga Texas. So whoever's getting this Cybertruck, I hope that you enjoy it, and I hope it gets to you very soon. So while we're here, let's fly up over this four-way intersection between Tesla Road and Robotics Avenue and head over towards the die shop and the battery cathode plant. And there's a good view of the west and south sides of the die shop. It looks like there may be a pane of glass that has been installed now on this southeast corner right in the middle of the main entrance of the die shop, so that's something I'll be able to check on my next flight. This is some crates that have Grobe automation tools that have been delivered. These are very large machines that are being used inside the die shop. You can see more of the concrete's been poured, more is getting prepared for pouring, and then the chiller plant shows that there's a lot of activity on that north side with the plastic temporary wall that has been erected, and we saw some of that being done on my previous video. On the top where that open section is, I think this is where those Evapco items that we saw on the west side may eventually be delivered. So that'll be something that I will watch to see if they do in fact come over to finish up the chiller plant. I'm going to pull away over the west side, give you kind of a quick view of this side of the cathode plant. Most of the water now is completely dried up, which is very helpful to the workers. And then on this north end in the lift station, most of the excavation that we saw being done last time has been filled in, and it looks like they're just doing the last bits of that now. And there looks like a very tall pipe being installed in that section. On the northeast side is a good view looking to the north where more of the dirt and earthwork is underway, and possibly some preparation for a new road, and also just a good view of the equipment and some of the workshops on this side. Taking a look at the east side of the main part of the battery cathode plant, this gives you just a pretty good view of the work that's going on. There is some excavation work going on just next to the wade pit, and in my next video I'll try to spend a little bit more time there. I just wanted to get a good video done despite all of the winds, so that's why I'm kind of going pretty quickly at this portion of the video. But as I maneuver back, this gives you a really good view of the entire east side, how it looks today, the crash test facility on the right hand side, and of course how the south end of the two structures looks today. I did mention that the employee overflow lot is very full today, especially for this time on a Friday, and then the rest of the east parking lot is as well. This is one of the reasons why that multi-level parking garage is such a priority to get that completed, because Tesla is continuing to hire in many more employees. Some of that is to support a second line for the Cybertruck in the near future. So there you have it, a pretty good view on an extremely windy day here on the 12th of January. It is a Friday, the weekend is coming up. I hope that you have a great weekend, and as always, thank you very much for your support. Take care.